We have a guest centricity approach, we have a people approach, and we based our culture on 5 simple values. The first one, as I said, is passion, personality, respect, working together, and creativity.
Hello, my name is Renae Leith-Manos. Welcome to this podcast, Where2FromHere, featuring conversations about luxury travel and how it's changing in every pocket of the globe.
Hello to everyone. I'm Paola. I'm from the marvelous Principe Di Savoia in Milan. I work with Dorchester Collection since 14 years, and I'm very grateful to Renae to be here today and talk with you about the hospitality industry.
I'm here today going to the wonderful Dorchester Collections Principe di Savoia in Milan. I have been lucky enough to stay in this hotel multiple times and I love it. It is classically elegant. You can walk from there to the heart of Milan. It takes about 15 minutes. It's one of the most beautiful walks, in my opinion, in any city in Europe. There's beautiful architecture, trees, but the hotel itself has a magnificent swimming pool on the roof and a gym. And one of my favorite things to do when I stay there is to work out as I do every morning and then have an espresso on the balcony of the gym fitness area overlooking Milan. It's just beautiful. But here to talk to me from this hotel is Paolo, and she is the People and Culture Director at that hotel and at Hotel Eden in Rome. Now, I have never spoken to someone from a luxury hotel in this position, so I'm so excited to learn what her position is and what she does. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Renae. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here with you today, and I feel honored for this great possibility. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for making the time. But as I said, I've never actually met a culture director and a people director. Can you explain to us, what is that? Is it a new role within the Dorchester Collection? And what do you actually do?
People and culture role is a mixed role between 2 different aspects, especially in Italy. From one side, we take care of all the admin, legal, union aspects, and from the other side, we take care of all what I love to define like the soft aspect in the people and culture. So we take care of our main asset, our people, from recruiting to development to communication to involvement and engagement, and in this last year to all the initiatives that we put in place to pamper them in order to reinforce the retention inside our marvelous world. People and culture is the function inside the hotel that works directly with people. More or less, this is my 30th years of careers in this role. At the beginning, the role was completely dedicated to the legal admin aspect, more boring from a certain point of view.
And let me stop you there. That legal aspect, the unions and things, is that a big problem in Italy? Because it's quite a challenge in Australia. The reason it's a challenge in Australia is there's very strict laws about how many hours people can work in the industry, how much they need to get paid, what happens on holidays. It is quite complicated for hoteliers who come into Australia from outside. How would you describe that in Italy?
It's more or less the same.
Okay.
All the legal aspects are very tough. Sometimes it's difficult to understand and to interpret a law and to apply the law. So this means that we have to study and we have to confront ourselves with a lot of consultants in order to interpret the law in a perfect way. We are of such a type of company that wants to be perfect in line with all the legal requirements. So this is the part of my job that required to me a lot of time, a lot of effort in terms of study. But I have to say that every time I have the possibility to speak with our people and say to them that we really trust on the total respect of the law, I feel myself really proud, because
Yes.
I give them the possibility to work in an environment that is clean from a certain point of view, and that trust can flourish also from this point of view. So it's an important aspect, complicated aspect, but
Yes.
extremely useful to create such a type of environment that we want to offer to our people. Also,
Yes.
unions is something that we have to consider. But while in the past, the relationship with unions were really conflictual, so they wanted to stay in their position, we wanted to stay in our position. So this means that could happen that we sit down at the table and we took long hours to debate a topic, and sometimes happens that strike happens. So
you have a lot of strikes in Italy generally as a culture? Because I know in France, for example, it's all the time. Is it similar in Italy?
In Italy, we have today we have a strike, for example, because in fact I was scared to arrive late because their unions called a strike to require the company to be comply with all the health and safety aspect in order to guarantee secure working environments to the different people. So
Yes.
strike is a means, but in the hospitality industry, I have to say that in this last year, we had less and less strike. And we sit down at the table with union with a different step. Unions and employers understood that we have in common one of the most important element of our world, our people. So we work together to find the best solution for our people first.
That's hard work. You've got a really hard job. Like, it sounds really glamorous, people and culture director, but actually dealing with unions and staff who are potentially unhappy, or unions are unhappy, or both. Wow. And because if you don't resolve it, you've got no staff for a short period of time, potentially.
You're perfectly right, but I have to say that my experience in this last year show that both of us show a great sense of reality. So we understood that the world is changed, that we have to do something, each for our respective responsibility, to permit to our people to flourish, to live in a certain way. So sometimes we are sometimes we are able to do a step back, sometimes unions do a step back, but at the end, we always sign, at least in our environment, an agreement that permits to people to be happy, to unions to be happy, and to us as employer to be happy.
Of course. But what I wanted to ask you, because you work with the luxury hotels and you're basically managing the staff in effect, from an HR perspective, is there a certain type of person? Is there a certain type of personality who is attracted to work in the luxury hotel business? What do you see after so many years?
Oh, I have to say that if you want to work in the hospitality industry, you have to be a person who loves this type of work. Passion has to be your first skill that needs to stay every single day in contact with people, because if you work in the front, you are in contact with guests. If you are working in the back, you are in contact with other people. So you have to love to stay with people. You have to love to speak, to communicate, to listen carefully, to show empathy, because this is another important skill. You need to have resilience, because our business move in this way, not only during the year, not only during the month, not only during the week, but also during the day. And sometimes we are so busy, and sometimes we have time where we can relax a little bit. So resilience is another important aspect. And last but not least, when you deal with people, be aware of all the cultural differences we have in other worlds. So a lot of skills, I have to say.
It is.
It's
and the culture, once you've got those people on board, because your job is culture, and I know because I work with a lot of the Dorchester properties all over the world, the culture is extraordinary at all the Dorchester hotels. The staff seem very cohesive, they seem very happy, they're very direct, they're very reliable, they're great communicators. How do you create this culture with the staff? And then once you've got it at Principe Di Savoia or the Hotel Eden in Rome, how does it then go global? How does that work?
Our culture is amazing. I have to say, you said this, I permit to repeat. And the pioneer, the custodian of our culture was Mr. Kadri, our former CEO, now president of the company. It's a simple culture from a central point of view, because we put at the center of everything we do our people. This means we have a guest centricity approach, we have a people approach, and we base our culture on 5 simple values. The first one, as I said, is passion, personality, respect, working together, and creativity.
Wow.
And
can you repeat them? Repeat them again. Repeat them again.
Personality,
passion,
working together, creativity,
and
respect.
Beautiful. What are they written up in the back alleys of the Dorchester hotels? Are they written up somewhere? Yes.
We have this value published everywhere. Wow. Everywhere in our back. Every time we organize a meeting, we start with the slide of our values, because for us are our fundamentals. It's our DNA, our soul. But having these values written in a poster in the corridor or in a slide in a presentation is not enough for ourselves. Yes. If we want to have a real culture, we have to live these values. Yes. Our single action in every day, we have to show the ability to put in place the real meaning of respect, the real meaning of personality, passion, working together. Working together is another values that have a great importance in the hospitality environment. You can imagine if you enter in an hotel and each single department doesn't communicate with other, doesn't work together with other departments. What you notice as a guest is a service that I love to describe like a roller coaster 1-to-1.
We've all stayed in hotels with roller coaster service.
Exactly, fantastic.
And they're not the Dorchester properties. They're definitely not the Dorchester.
Great, this is a great news. Thank you for saying this. So, and what we do? What we do is simply moving from the beginning of the relationship with a person, I mean the recruiting phase, to the entire life in our hotel. We design our single step inspired by this value. When I recruit a person, when our people in this function recruit a colleague, a potential colleague, analyze first how is live these values in his personal life, how his values match with our values. This is extremely important, because when you enter in a company and you have the same values, all become easier. Easy. Exactly, it's easier. So not only, also our learning and development activities are all inspired by our values. The We Care activities, all the activities we put in place to pamper our people. To
give us an example. Give us an example of something that you put in place to pamper your people. I'm very interested.
For example, I give you the recently example of the activities we did in this fourth quarter of 2024. We consider that one of the most important elements we have for ourselves is our life. Taking care of our life is extremely important. as a person and as employees. So we dedicated the first quarter to taking care of ourselves, moving from our health point of view.
Yep.
So with one of the most important cancer association in Italy, we promoted a week where we meet our employees, and this also thanks to the availability of some of our employees who unfortunately suffer of cancer, and we educate them to understand difficulty of a moment when a cancer is diagnostic for one person.
Right, makes
what
sense.
we can do, how we can treat, the
Support
importance of prevention, and all the health check we can do in advance, the importance of a gym in our regular life, the importance of a correct nutrition. So we did all this type of educational moment, and we offer to our people the possibility to have a health check. Of course, this is a great example of respect for himself, is a great example of working together, because we don't do this by ourselves, but with an external association that help us to transfer in a proper ways this the content, and on the other side, through our people who put themselves at the disposal of the other colleagues to show that it's difficult, but with the correct network, with the correct action put in place, and of course, as always in life, with a little bit of lucky, we can also survive to this and live and come back to live after such a difficult time. This is an example. Another example is related to all the activities we put in place to protect our environment. We just last week organized a group of people who went around the hotel and cleaned the area around us. With the help of our sales and marketing activity, decided to, as we cannot compensate all elements with some concrete action to made by our employees to protect our environment, we decided to invest in planting trees in Milan to compensate all the
environmental damage, the pollution.
Exactly, that with our activities.
But there are quite a few trees already around the hotel, you know, having stayed there. Milan, you know, is quite green, I think, compared to other cities. It's not too bad.
It's interesting for me because sometimes I complain about this. We are lucky because now with Gaio Lenti at our back, we live in an area of the city where we have such an amazing park closer to us. And sometimes we say that we change the location of our hotel because thanks to this park, we can show another side of the city. But happy to know this, because sometimes honestly I complain, for me is not enough. But you are perfectly right. We have the park in front of us, the park behind the hotel.
Let me put it to you this way. When I spend time in Rome, I struggle in Rome as a tourist because of the walking on the hard stones, especially, and in summer it's so hot and on the hard stones, and I feel like there's no escape. I don't feel like that in Milan. I feel like I can walk, the walking is comfortable. When I walk from the hotel, as I said, to the Duomo, there's beautiful trees if you walk a certain, you know, street. I find it very beautiful and very like calming compared to Rome, for example.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing this point of view, because it's really interesting for me.
How do you cope between Rome and Milan? How often are you there? And what is the culture difference, you know, from, because we don't really know as tourists, what is there a big culture difference between people who live and work in Rome and people who live and work in Milan?
I have to say that the culture of the two hotels, obviously, as we are to Dorchester Collection Hotel, is exactly the same.
Right.
As this is the powerful of Dorchester Collection, because it's so strong and so real, our culture, that as soon as you enter in Milan, as soon as you enter in Rome, you understand that you are in a Dorchester Collection property.
Yes.
On the other side, the two cities are so different, because Milan is mainly a business city and Rome is a leisure city, and the tradition of the two cities are so different that when you meet people, you understand that you are in Milan and you are in Rome.
Yes.
The voice, the accent, the smiling, as soon as you
the
enter
way they dress, The way they dress, is it very different also from Milan to Rome?
Yes, the uniform are completely different. The uniform are completely different.
No, but I mean the average person on the street as well. Do they dress differently in Milan and in Rome?
Yes, in the past more than now. In the past more than now. But in any case, you can see that when you have in front of you a Milanese person, when you have in front of you a Roman person, you can see.
So talk us through a person on the street in Rome and a person on the street in Milan. How would they dress differently? Like two women, you know, how would you tell immediately one is from there and one is from there?
I have to say that probably the sun, probably the idea to be an international city, like a leisure city, like in Rome, is more casual, more formal in Milan. That is more a business city. Okay. This is my humble point of view, honestly. To reply to your question, yes, you can understand that you are in Milan and you are in Rome. Regarding my time in the two properties, I spend the most of my time here in Milan, the 80% of my time, and the 20% of my time in Rome. This means that the role is completely different in the two hotels. Yes. I'm really operational in Milan, and I am more like a consultant approach in Rome. But there is an aspect that for me it's crucial in both properties, and it's the importance of the relationship with people in both hotels. Moving from the GM, to the executive team, to the leadership team, to each single people, because I love to stay on the floor. I love to meet people, love to understand their point of view about our organization. Because when you speak with our people on the floor, every time I have such a great insight that in a different way, if I stay on my desk and continue to think about a certain situation by myself, I cannot see. Yes. So it's extremely important to spend time off the floor and build relationship with a person inside the hotel. Because if you build relationship, if you are closer to people, it's easier than when there is something right or something wrong to share the point of view. It is as an invaluable values for me, because
makes perfect sense when you put it, because I imagine that sometimes you have to deal with a difficult situation and you're sitting in Milan and the situation's in Rome. Are you doing that on Zoom? Is that where you have to do it sometimes?
We work on Teams every single day. I'm lucky also from this point of view, because the relationship between me and the director of people and culture in Rome, me and the GM in Rome, is amazing. We feel free to call each other. I listen every single day. Emanuela, the director of people and culture in Rome, she called me. I call her, how is today? Everything was perfect. Yes, no. She updated me. When there are some critical decision to take, of course, they invited me to sit down at the table. We are working around the strategy plan for the hotel. So when they discuss about this topic, I am with them, or Zoom or in present. More or less, I spend 2 days in present in Rome, because to be there also in present is extremely important. Because
yes, that's what I'm saying, especially if people are being sacked or something big's happening, or promotion, demotion, either way, right? Being in person is critical.
Exactly. So work with team is a great possibility. Spend time there in person is extremely important. So this easy communication simplify our relationship and simplify the possibility to work together, and we are perfect aligned when we take decision. I love to do my job, and I love to be considered business partner in the hotel, in both the hotel. This is also the main goal of my company. People and culture has to sit down at the table and discuss important topic with the rest of the function, the rest of the hotel. And this is possible only when you have a great relationship with people, and when you take care also of yourself, your development, the possibility to expand your horizon and understand what is happening in the hotel, not only related to your single area, but also related the hotel in general, and not only the hotel, but the luxury market in general. So if a people and culture director is able to do all this, then is able to sit down at the table with a certain capacity to deal with the other function in a proper way. Wow. Also, to know the operation is critical. Every time I thank my professor of organizational management when he proposed to me 30 years ago, before yesterday, I have to say, to do a thesis on the hotel. At that time, believe me, I never considered to work in an hotel. I study economy at the university. I wanted to be a financial consultant, and now I thank God that I'm in another situation, because for me 2 + 2 is equal 5, not 4. So it's better. It's better that I do what I'm doing, and I'm valuable colleagues in the financial department. So this is extremely important for me. And but I was saying I thank him because he permitted to me to discover a word that I never considered. Wow! And it's a word where magic happens, where you can express yourself, where you can see the world staying in your position. I love to travel, but when you work in an hotel, you travel without traveling. If during the fashion week, if during the design week, or in every moment of the day, you sit down in our salotto and you look at our guests, you discover what's happening in the world.
It's true. And I really love, one of the many things I love about the Principe is that there's often an exhibition on. One of the times I stayed, there was an international artist, a photographer, and he'd photographed all these famous people, and the whole hotel, there must have been 30 or 40 photographs, huge. And it was just so stimulating, as you say, even as a guest in the hotel, just sitting there looking at some of the most recognizable faces in these poses and things like you've never seen them before. And that's one of the many wonderful things about Italy, but about your hotel, that actually takes on the Italian angle of culture and design in everything that you do. I totally agree. And this is the powerful element of this world, the hospitality industry, and this job. This happens to me, but also our hotel manager, also our sales and marketing director, think exactly the same. As I said, it's the magic of this world. Not easy to work inside an hotel, because it's really demanding. It's really demanding in terms of competencies, in terms of flexibility, in terms of availability. I remember when I started, I didn't count the number of hours I spent in the hotel, and I started from the operation because I wanted to know the hotel from the beginning, from the basement. Because now, if I play my role in the way I play it, is thanks to this experience in the operation. This permits to understand what means clean a room, what means be a waiter, what means to wash dishes and pots every single day. Permit to understand not only the organization, because at the end you can arrive also to understand the organization even if you don't do it, but the fatigue, the emotion, the difficulty, the frustration, and the beauty for the job of the people that every single day do this job on the floor. And this permits to build once again the relationship and contribute to create a certain type of environment inside the hotel. I hear you. And so what is the key to staff retention? Staff retention is the biggest challenge in luxury hotels everywhere in the world, whether we're talking about Australia, Sydney, London, Milan, Paris, Santiago. It's global everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. How are you managing that? What is the key to getting staff to stay in their jobs in luxury hotels today? Retention is an important aspect. Even more important is this last period of time. And another important aspect is attraction.
Because we open our door at the new generation now. And the new generation have a completely different approach to life. Each single part of their life counts exactly in the same way. And we have to respect this point of view, and we have to create the type of environment that permit to them to have a balance of these different aspects. So talking about retention now is different than talking about retention 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yes, the world has changed.
Completely change, because of course it's important to create the environment to do all the activities we already discussed, but it's already important to understand the single needs of the person.
Yes.
And try to balance the needs of the organization and the needs of the person. In hospitality environment, we are open 365 days per year. We have night, late, early shift, split shift, and this now not always combine with the needs of a person. Before yesterday, I received the resignation of a person, a very, very talented pastry chef who decided to move from the hotel industry to a pastry laboratory, because permit to her to work 8 hours like an office timing versus the open late, early and late shift. So this is the first update that we have to consider if we want to increase our retention. Review our organization and try to reorganize ourselves in order to at least start to avoid to have a split shift, and balance properly the rota in order to have a perfect balance between early and late shift. Consider the person as a person, not only the pastry chef, but the person behind the pastry chef. So it's important that our leader sit down regularly with the people and know them in person, understand their expectation, understand their challenges, and help them to manage the expectation and to create the certain type of environment that they need to express themselves, to express their personality. We have to have respect of this single element. I have to say that the Dorchester Collection is on this topic. We are working all together. We are lucky because we are 10 hotels, and we work very close with our corporate office. We meet regularly. We discuss this situation all together, and we try to find all together the right solution. I give you the example, a new employee who entered in our company. In the first period of time, he meets regularly at the 30, 60, 90 days from deployment, not only the leaders, but also one person in people and culture. So the leaders look after at the technical part, the people and culture look after at the personal side of the person, and then we meet all together to share different point of view and to confirm or address the situation if it's necessary. This creates help retention. We don't, of course, we cannot permit to ourselves to say, okay, after 90 days, bye-bye, we see in the future. But regularly we meet them. We have a mentorship program in order to permit to people to meet senior
support.
Exactly, senior people, and feel free to discuss point with this person and say, can you give me an advice? Can you help me from this point of view? We have a program, a learning development program that take care not only of the technical aspect, but also of the soft aspect of the job, permitting people to develop themselves in a proper way. We are developing a tool, a learning management system tool that will be ready by the end of the year for the entire population, not only for the leader, not only for
all staff.
Exactly, for the staff where they can connect
Paolo,
from their mobile.
I have to stop you. There is so much going on to make these hotels come to life. I'm shocked. It's so much.
A lot. I have to say that
Wow.
I am so proud of all of this, and our people see what Dorchester Collection, what Principe Di Savoia, what Hotel Eden do for them. Engagement in both hotel and in Dorchester Collection is really, really high, because of course all this type of attention from one side, from our side, means from them gratitude and the expression of thanks. I feel okay. I feel proud to be here with you and work with you and for you. Before to come here this morning, every year we do climate analysis in order twice a year, in June, July, and in October.
What analysis? Sorry,
It's we ask to our people through question, how do you feel to work for a Dorchester Collection? How do you feel? How proud you are to work for Principe di Savoia, for Hotel Eden, for a Dorchester Collection hotel? We have such a lot of questions that analyze all the aspects of our working life. Every single year we receive a lot of written comment, and we analyze carefully each single comment. When I say we, I mean me, the executive, DGM, the executive committee, the leadership committee, and we meet each single department to debrief the results. And we take into account what they say to us. Of course, we cannot, because we do it twice a year, and we cannot do everything, because you have 6 months in front of you to realign, readdress the situation where it's necessary, or to continue to go in the right direction if you already embraced the right direction for a certain topic.
Wow.
And we define an action plan of 2 or 3 actions. And 1 month ago, Samantha, my people and culture manager, met for the debriefing of this result, the laundry and the housekeeping team. The laundry and the housekeeping team expressed the desire in their, the tool is called Your View, in their Your View, to have a moment of training just for themselves, to understand some aspect on how they can improve the communication with the front office team, with the outsourcing supply for the cleaning of the room. Yeah. And in 1 month, we organized this type of training. And yesterday, the training went live. So I met one of the laundry attendants before to come here, and I said, how was yesterday your training? And she said, I cannot thank you enough. I cannot thank you enough for this great opportunity, because it was not only a moment where we learned something, but where we felt free to express what we had inside. And the idea that someone, the facilitator, took care of our point of view and wanted to find with us a solution permitted to us to came back with a smiling in this way. So I said, okay, I'm so happy. I do my meeting, and then immediately I come back to you and you tell me more. This is when this happened.
You're amazing. That's amazing. But I have to ask you, because we're running out of time, I have to ask you, you've got all of this going on with all of these people in 2 hotels, not just one in Italy, but closer to home. You have 2 beautiful children. You have a husband. How on earth, over all these years, have you balanced the 2? What's the secret there?
The first secret is to have the right person in the right position in inside the hotel, and the ability to working together from an work point of view. And in Rome, there is an amazing team and people and culture director, a recruit, a structured team, fantastic leader. In Milan, exactly the same. Obviously, this is not the result of a person. This is the result of...
No, but I'm talking about your family. How have you...
No, regarding my, this is for job. For my family, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I have a fantastic family. I'm so grateful to my mother. She is 92 years old, and she is always able to help me with my 2 children. When my daughter came back from school, she found everything on the table, because she takes care of every single day, prepare a plate of pasta or a meat. I have my sister who live for my 2 children, my daughter and myself. and I have a fantastic husband that we are like, I always say Società per Azioni is a company, like a company, and we do exactly till where I can arrive, and when I stop, he supporting me and vice versa. This is the secret of doing this. This doesn't mean that it's easy, honestly, neither in the job nor at home, because I have two children, two completely different children. Esmeralda, the girl, reacting in a completely different way versus Arley. Arley is a mom-dependent boy, so when I'm not at home, he does some step back, he change completely his humor. So it's not easy. When I am at home, I have to be at home. I have to not to stay with my mobile in my hand, because immediately he say to me, "Mommy, you are not with me. I want to play with you. I want to study with you, and not with you and your mobile," because he is only 10 years old, but
and
has
fair
clear
enough.
idea in
This
mind.
is a good education for all of us. I have two children, boy and girl. I understand. They don't want us. They don't want us with something in between, a phone in between.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just where I will end, having support, and in any case, it's not easy. And the last point is balance yourself. I just discovered the powerful support that mindfulness can give me. Wow. And I always brought from the past what I lived. When I'm in here, I always think about the future. So I was neither in the past nor in the future, neither in the present. I said, Paola, you cannot go ahead in this way. You have to stop and think in a different way. So I started this training, started to learn about the great values of the present. So live the present, Paola. Do one thing per time. It's true, multitasking is important, but it's not something that you can do every single moment of your life. So live your present, do one thing per time, and do the thing you are doing at the best you can. And then close this chapter, open another chapter. So when I'm at home, I live my family at the most of my possibility. When I'm with my friend, exactly the same. When I at work, exactly the same.
It's wonderful. Look, Paola, I could talk to you for hours. It's morning for you, it's night for me. But we've been talking for 47 minutes and we're meant to go for 25. So, but I need to ask you, we ask all of our guests, where to from here for you? You can tell us what you're doing today, what your next holiday is, or what you're doing at work, just something in the future. Where to from here for you? Being mindful about it, of course.
From here, to continue to discover something new that can help me as a person, that can help me as a professional person. So don't stop and go ahead to be curious and develop myself.
I love it. I love it. It's wonderful to speak with you. I hope to meet you next time at one of your beautiful hotels. And meanwhile,
I hope.
Yeah, have a wonderful day. And please give my love to your general manager, to Mr. Ezio. He's fantastic.
Absolutely, yes. And thank you for anything. Thank you for everything. Anyway, thank you for this amazing conversation.
Grazie mille.
Ciao, bye bye,
Ciao.
grazie, arrivederci, ciao ciao.